Hi everyone, Erin back, 30 and 30. Now we're going to talk about recovery. How would I describe recovery? My favorite topic. For me personally, recovery means healing. If I could define it in one word, that would be it, healing. Recovery is bringing me back to my authentic self-discovery. As I said in my previous videos, I was a stranger to my own life. I had no idea who I was, what I liked, what my interests were. I had no idea how to manage myself, manage my emotions, manage anything. So recovery for me has been learning how to do all of those things. It's been an undoing. Recovery has meant grief for me in some ways. The old version of myself had to die off before the new version, or the truest version, I was always there. I was just buried underneath false belief systems. I was buried underneath unprocessed traumas. I was buried under societal pressures and timelines that I thought I had to abide to. And when I didn't, I was full of shame. So I had to, recovery for me is just discovering what it is that makes Erin Erin. Yeah. And there's been a lot of grief in that because, I mourned all the time lost. When I finally started figuring some of these things out, I was like, oh my gosh, I wasted so much time being lost. Why couldn't I have just done this sooner? So there was a lot of processing that. Growing up, I was an only child, and I was the child of two parents who were miserable together, very unhealthy, unhappy marriage. So they were so caught up in their own drama that I became the rescuer. It was my role to manage their emotions, manage their relationships, provide for them, be there for them, show up for them. Then I got neglected in the process. My needs, my wants, my emotions, they didn't matter. So the message I received was, you don't matter. You're insignificant. You're unworthy. You're incapable. Because the focus was never truly about me. It was about what I could do for them. So a lot of my recovery has been the undoing of that. The challenging limiting beliefs, facing a lot of the fears that kept me small for so long, trying new things. When early recovery, I heard, what do you like to do for fun? And I could only list like two things. So it was a lot of trying things, which meant I had to face my fears of, and risk being embarrassed, risk not being good at something, risk. My favorite phrase in the recovery toolkit is the risk and right to fail. I had to learn in my recovery that failing was not bad. Failing meant growth. So recovery for me means redefining. Redefining what success looked like to me, redefining what failure looked like, redefining perfectionism. I thought perfectionism was a good thing. I did not know that it was actually a trauma response. So again, going back and learning why I behave the way I did, why I think the way I do, managing my inner critic, my mean girl. I have a really mean girl voice, and when she shows up, I have to take care of her. So recovery for me has been learning how to reparent myself. Where did that negative script come from? how can I reassign that? Or how can I rephrase that? How can I repair that negative script? How can I show up differently? It's more supportive of my goals. I never had goals in my life. Now I have so many goals, I don't know which one to go for first. I am living my best life. And that's because I chose, it was a conscious decision to do hard work. Recovery is hard work. It's not easy. I have many pathways in my recovery to healing. I have mental health therapy. I started MAT 4 years ago after my really, really horrific relapse. I was really struggling after that. I was on phase 4 of drug court. I got a new charge for child endangerment because I was getting high around my new infant son. I had already lost temporary custody of my other 2 kids. So I was in deep doo-doo. It was either make or break it time. So I had to dig my feet in, and I had to dig my heels in and really just be willing and open-minded, and be willing to do whatever it took to move forward. So that meant mutual aid groups. I started the first Heroin Anonymous meeting here in Utica. It was redefining what support looked like. In my very early recovery, I thought support meant family, which it was not for me. Support meant people who were also recovering from substance use, people who were also struggling and recovering from childhood trauma, connecting with other women who were trying to heal their inner child and trying to discover who they really were, to come into their full authentic self. Recovery for me meant undoing the shame that I carried. Forgiveness. What does it really mean to forgive? What does that look like? What are the action steps? Because for me, forgiveness is action. There's action to that. I didn't just wake up and like, oh, I forgive. No, there were things behind that in order to get to a place of forgiveness. So recovery is all those things. So I have coach. I'm a recovery coach myself. So I also have a coach for myself. I have a soul coach. So I had that as a pathway. I have my spirituality, my women's group, my soul women's group, where we practice different meditations, journal exercises together. Connection is possibility. The more connected I am with my community, with my support systems, with my self-care, with my body, with my mind, the more I thrive. Addiction, substance use disorder keeps you paralyzed. It kept me paralyzed, and it kept me so small, and it stunted my growth. So recovery for me is the opposite. Recovery is growth. It's repairing. It's hope. Recovery is opportunity. Recovery is possibility. The sky is the limit. Choices are endless. The plan has to come into play in order to get there. I just bought my first home. I'm sitting in my living room. I bought my first home. If you had asked me 6 years ago if I would have owned my first home, I would have said, you're out of your mind. I can't even manage a checkbook at this point. So recovery is possibility. My pathways in recovery have changed over time. As my needs have changed, my pathways have changed. So like I said in the beginning, it was mutual aid groups. Now I've shifted into my more spirituality groups, my women's groups. I do a ton of reading, ton of self-help books. I love exploring different authors who have different perspectives and different knowledge and viewpoints on who we are, our personalities, how we become our personality. I love podcasts. You always see me with earbuds in my ears as I'm listening to podcasts. That's my recovery. I take a lot of different things from everywhere and I pull them all into this pot, and I have this like really big toolbox now. So whenever I'm in need of something, I just go grab. Self-care, wellness. I'm a big wellness advocate. It's incredibly important. And I fall off my wellness train all the time. I have to pick myself back up and put it back on. MAT, like I said, I was put on MAT after my relapse. MAT has been a game changer for me. When I needed to do that deep dive work, that really deep dive work, that gut wrenching, all that stuff that I avoided for almost 40 years of my life, I had to now face. MAT was like that safety net. It was like, okay, if you feel like you can't take this on, or if you get a craving, or if you're triggered, I'm going to catch you. Okay. Because I'm not going to let you fall. That's what MAT does for me. It stabilizes me and allows me to go to those places that I could never go to because it was just too much. It was too overwhelming. MAT allows me to collect my tools, to collect my network, to get all my stuff in order. And it says, okay, go do your thing, go feel through this. And I got you. And I don't see myself coming off of it anytime soon. I really feel like don't fix what isn't broken. It's a part of my daily routine. I don't even think about it. It's not something I have a struggle with maintaining. So it's a really important piece of my healing journey at this moment, and for some time to come. When the time is right, it's right. And if the time is never, and if I don't feel like ever coming off it, I won't. I don't feel pressure to do so. I know that my recovery is real and that I've done amazing things on MAT, and I'm not substituting one substance for the other because I do not behave. My behaviors are not anything how they look like on opiate pain medication on MAT. I take it the way I'm supposed to. It's prescribed. I go to my doctor's appointments. I tell everybody that needs to know that I'm on it. There is no hiding, secrecy, hoarding, counting, like that doesn't apply here. So for me, it's very safe. And all the magic of recovery is tough. The act of recovery, learning how to live after being in such a state of chaos is a challenge. It can get lonely sometimes because I've lost, like I said, a lot along the way. I had to lose the unhealthy friends. I had to lose the unhealthy relationships. I've lost family because they weren't healthy. There's been loss. And sometimes life is hard. Life doesn't stop lifing just because a person gets sober. And that was like a big aha moment for me in the very beginning, because I thought like once I got sober, everything was gonna like magically just sort out. And that's not how it works. Life still lives. Just in recovery, you have the opportunity to manage life and be present for life and show up and be a participating person. Yeah, you get to participate, get to be part of something. No more hiding in the shadows. No more wishing death to come. But that being said, life can get hard. But on the flip side of that, life can always get better. So this too shall pass. Nothing stays the same. And it's kind of a double-edged sword sometimes. When times are going tough, well, nothing stays the same. Everything changes. So sit tight, it'll get better. And then when you're having a magical moment, savor it, because nothing stays the same. Change will come. So savor those moments that feel like bliss. Hang on to that bliss. Be present and aware for it. Recovery is awareness. Recovery is healing. Recovery is magic. I get to be a part of something much bigger than I ever imagined. I get to be a part of other people's recoveries. I get to watch other people grow and change and shift and discover themselves. And that's my most favorite part, is watching people get it. And I hope this touches somebody out there. Recovery is possible. No matter how bleak your circumstances may look. And gosh, I know how bleak it can feel. I know how hopeless and desperate life can be when you're suffering from substance use. But recovery is possible. It's not a one-man job. We can't do recovery alone. Asking for help is imperative. It's invaluable. We have to have help along the way. Direction, mentorship, support, compassion, empathy. All of those things we're deserving. Ask for help because it's out there. It really is. I care. People care.